Our world is full of color. As infants, we react joyfully to it. As adults, we utilize colors in various ways, as a form of expression or implemented as a form of function. This has been true for thousands upon thousands of years, from the hieroglyphs of ancient Egyptians right down to modern sports where team colors are a source of pride. Color can influence and determine our day to day life. The associations and meanings we assign colors based on our individual experiences is collectively known as color psychology. By using the knowledge of how color affects us, you can get your audience to see what you want them to see and help them perceive what you want them to perceive. This is a common tool used in advertising and design. When it comes to color in design, we often find psychology and science contradicting each other. Pixar's Inside Out uses understanding of color to their advantage. Inside Out is about a young girl who is having difficulty adjusting to moving out to a new city with her family. Her complex emotions are distilled down to 5 emotions who are depicted by a character each. They are joy, anger, sadness, fear, and disgust. And each is distinct by the color they represent. The protagonist's joy is represented with yellow. Bright yellows are often associated with freshness, happiness, positivity, enlightenment, and joy. And you see all these emotions in the character too. Joy is the most lively person in the room, optimistic and full of energy. Anger is red. The color has intensity. It is the color of blood. It embodies passion, love, and rage. It is the color we attribute to the most extreme of emotions. Inside Out uses anger to depict impatience and even forms of cruelty. Sadness is represented with blue. Blue is the color of the sky and the sea. In fact, the Earth is often referred to as a blue planet. It is the color of tranquil life. It is for this reason, perhaps, it's often associated with depth, calmness, and stability. It can be used to symbolize trust, loyalty, wisdom, confidence, intelligence, faith, and truth. Yet at the same time, blue can also appear icy, distant, or even cold. And we have all heard the phrase, "I'm feeling blue." These are the characteristics of sadness. She is the total opposite of the protagonist, timid and depressed, but equally relevant. We find out as the story of Inside Out develops. But psychology alone doesn't tell us the full story. Science has its own quirks in how we understand and perceive color. This is very important for designers when they pick and choose what color to utilize for their projects. Understanding how color works is vital. In our retina, we have two types of photoreceptors called rods and cones. It is the cones that operate during the day and enable color vision. There are roughly 6 million cones in each retina. And of those 6 million cones, we can illustrate 60% as red, 30% as green, and 10% as blue. The eye mixes the right amount and the right combination of these cones to create the colors we see. In Inside Out, yellow is used to represent joy, happiness, and positivity. And yet, if you were to step outside your house and wander into a construction site, you will come across many warning signs in yellow. Eye sensitivity plays a huge role here. And the eye sensitivity depends on the color that stimulates the most amount of cones. Therefore, contrast and visibility, in this case black against yellow, catches our attention faster than, say, blue against black. Red is usually used to convey some type of danger, and it's not just because nature uses it as warning signs, but because red has the longest wavelength, so it can travel the furthest. Our eyes might not be as sensitive to red as it is to yellow, but red scatters least in fog or smoke. Think of flashing lights on top of skyscrapers to warn any nearby flying aircrafts to stay away. Even the colors used for anger and sadness are contradicted by science. Anger is literally the character with his head on fire, while sadness is the slow, quiet, and lethargic one. But did you know blue is hotter than red in the visible spectrum? The blue end of the spectrum has a higher frequency and therefore a smaller wavelength, which means they have more energy and therefore a higher temperature. Another good example is the sun. We see the sun being represented as a red-hot fireball in many science textbooks today, when in reality the sun is white in color. It just appears red when rising or setting, because the colors from the sun have to travel a further distance. Color is often as much about story, culture, and history as it is often about science. Inside Out represents fear in purple, when in color psychology it is often associated with luxury, power, wisdom, royalty, and magic. Disgust is represented with green, but green is the color of our trees, and it is often used to communicate growth and fertility. Humans will always have an innate psychological reaction to certain colors, but these colors are always changing based on cultural trends. Human history is pockmarked with idiosyncratic ways we understand and relate to color. There are no guidelines to using them, but understanding the cognitive effects as well as its behavior in nature does help.